Welcome to another video on an Excel template from Indzara.com. Project Planner has been the second most popular template on Indzara.com for a long time, and it's a free template that allows you to plan projects. And since it's been a while, I have upgraded the features of this template now, and here is the new and improved version of the Project Planner basic Excel template. In this video, I will give a brief introduction to the project management and project planning framework that I've used in this template, and then we will do a live demo of the features of the template itself. Now let's get started. So what is a project? We'll go through what is project management, the two stages of project management, and then some of the key objectives of project planning stage, and then why scheduling is important, and finally, what is the output of the project plan. So to begin with, a project has a specific end goal. It is usually a collection of tasks that should be completed in order for the project to be completed, and each task will require a certain amount of time or work, and it may cost a certain amount, and then also it may require a specific skill set in order to accomplish that task. We also have resources that are available to perform work on these tasks. So these are the key characteristics of a project. So the project management is the discipline of achieving the project goal using the resources that are available, accounting for all the constraints that are put on this system. And there would be a lot of unexpected events that happen along the way of the project. And so project management includes handling all these unexpected events too, and successfully achieving the project goal. Project manager is the leader of the project. And I would like to split the project management into two stages. One is the planning and the second is the management. So planning is the work that is done prior to the actual work start. And then after the actual project work begins, then you are in the management stage. You're managing the progress of the project, making changes as needed so that you accomplish the goal within the constraints. So during the planning stage, the goals of the project manager are: can the project be completed by our preferred date? When will it complete? How much will it cost for us? And will we be using our resources efficiently, or will they be underutilized or unutilized? And in order to answer some of these questions, or all of these questions, the key is to figure out the project schedule. What is a schedule? A schedule tells us who will work for how long on which task on any given day. So that is the schedule. The scheduling includes two different aspects. One is the task side, where we know the number of hours of work required for each task. We know if there are any restrictions on when each task can begin. And also we may have dependencies. So we could say a task cannot begin until another task is completed. So that is called the dependency between tasks, and we define it as predecessors. And so these are the aspects or factors on the work or task side. On the other side, we have the resources who are ready to perform work on these tasks and complete them. On the resources, we have a list of resources who are available to work on the project. And then we also have standard availability of those resources. So for example, some resources may only work 6 hours a day, some may work 8 hours a day, some may work only on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, some may work 5 days a week. So all of these are inputs to the scheduling process. We also may have company holidays where no work will be performed, so we need to also factor that into account. And so we have these two key entities, tasks and resources, and balancing them and accomplishing the goal is the scheduling process. And here the assignment of a resource to a task. So each task, we may want to assign it to a specific resource who is skilled enough to complete that task. So that is the assignment. So given these inputs, what we want to do is to create a schedule which will look something like this, where we know, hey, this is the resource, and on this day, the resource is going to work 7 hours on this project or 8 hours on this project. So that is the actual schedule that is built, and the schedule could be at the resource level or at the project level or at the task level. And this schedule, once we build that in, it allows us to calculate all the other relevant project metrics. And In our template, this process of building the schedule is automated. The template will take care of it itself because there are calculations and formulas built in that will do the scheduling for us, because this is the most critical piece, which is the foundation for calculating all the other relevant metrics. Automating this piece saves us a lot of time and make sure that we get the smarter project planning in place. Now, the plan will include when each project will start and finish. We know the expected start and finish days, and then we also know the detailed schedule that we can give to our team members and say, here's what we're going to do every day on which task. And we can also calculate the project cost and how much it'll cost overall, and the resource utilization, which resources would be underutilized, unutilized, or which resources will be fully utilized, so that we can make some changes to the assignments in order to achieve our targets. So this is the output of the project plan. So now we have a decent idea about what the project plan would include and why scheduling is important. Now let's take a look at the Excel template, which you can download for free from Indzara.com, and you can input your own information and then build your own project plans very, very quickly. And now that's what we're going to see. So now I have the Project Planner Basic template open, and I have already filled in some sample data in this file, and you can download both the empty file as well as the sample file, both from the link available on this video description as well as on the screen. And now the first sheet is the home sheet, where there are a couple of articles which I think would be good if you're new to the Excel templates, or if you're new to using Excel tables for data entry. Definitely check those two articles. And then we have a very, very high level overview of instructions which tell you how to go about entering data and using this template. There is also the link which will take you to the support page or the blog post where you can download the file, as well as detailed instructions on how to use the template along with screenshots. Now let's get started with the setting sheet. So this is where we will input the basic availability about our resources and also the project planning period. So we have entered the planning period start and end date. So the template allows 60-day maximum planning period. If you need an extended planning period of up to 1 year, please check out the advanced project planner. But this basic project planner allows 60-day of planning, and you can have 30 resources here. And I have entered 3 resources, and I've entered the availability of those resources. So for example, the project manager is available 5 hours on Sunday and Monday, is not available on Tuesday, again works for 7 hours Wednesday through Friday, and does not work on Saturday. So this is the standard availability of this specific resource. And you can assign a cost per hour of work for this resource, which will be used by the template to automatically calculate the project cost. Then we have the company weekends, where you can choose if a specific day is a weekend, then you can choose yes, and this will be used to highlight the specific weekends on the Gantt chart. Now, the company holidays is where you list a specific list of dates where company will not be doing any work at all, so please make sure that you enter them. So these are Excel tables. So when you want to enter more resources, you just type in the next row and then start typing in, and then for example I put 4, and then now this becomes the 4th resource. And if I don't want that, I right click that cell, delete rows. So this is the best way to do it, to add or delete rows to these tables. Now we go to the project sheet, where I have entered 3 projects, project 1, 2, 3. I have assigned them priority. So the template works, the logic for scheduling works in such a way that the highest priority project, highest in this case means 1 is the highest priority, number 1 priority, number 2, number 3. So the project priority value will be used by the template to figure out which project should be handled first by a resource. And so this priority is a required field, and it's also very critical for you in order to control the order in which the projects are completed. The project description is for your reference. These are optional fields, and if you have a specific date before which you don't want to start the project, you can put that date in, then the template will not schedule any work before that. if you have any deadline for the projects and you want to measure whether you will be able to finish before the deadline, then you can put in the preferred end date. The fixed cost, apart from the actual resource cost, if there is any other fixed cost for the project, then you can enter them in here. The plan status will say planned if you actually have all the necessary inputs to the project data. But for example, let's say I have not given the priority, then immediately you will see the project plan status will say error, which means this project number 1 will not be planned, will not be included in your project plans. So definitely make sure that the required fields are entered, and then the status should say planned. Now let's move on to the tasks sheet. This is where we would enter the detailed tasks. For example, project 1 has 6 different tasks: providing requirements to developer, developing the site, to the designer, designing the site, approving the site, and launching the site. These 6 tasks are assigned to different resources. And then also we have entered the number of hours of work it will be required to complete each of these tasks. So these are the required fields for tasks. This green colored, usually in all these templates, all our templates, the green color label header indicates it's a calculated field. It has a formula, so please do not edit the calculations. The required fields are clearly labeled, optional fields are labeled, so make sure that you fill in the required fields and check out the optional fields to see if it applies to your business need. So optional fields here: task description, just for your reference, start date and end date, preferred start and end date, just like the project start and end. We can have task preferred start and end. We also can have predecessors. For example, this one means task 2, developing the site, cannot begin until task 1 is complete. Task 1 is providing the requirements to developer. So the developer cannot begin work on task 2 until the manager, project manager, gives the requirements to the developer. So that is why we want to put some predecessor conditions here in order to make that mirror the real scenario. And so predecessors can be entered by just entering the task ID of the predecessor. There can be 2 predecessors for each task. For example, task 2 and 4 both should be complete before task 5 can be done. So that is how the predecessors work. Just like the project priority, you can control which task in a project is more important by assigning priority. And finally, milestone is just from a Gantt chart perspective, which we will see shortly. You can highlight them on the Gantt chart with a different color. So if there is any task that is a milestone, make sure you choose milestone yes. And there are some calculated columns towards the end. I'm going to skip that because you don't have to edit any of that, do anything with the calculated columns. Now, once we enter the settings, projects, and tasks, we are done. It's very, very simple. The data entry has been simplified. So all you have to do is to put in the availability data for resources, enter the project list, enter the task details, and you're done. Now, all the hard work to do all the calculations to figure out who's going to work when on which task and all that, how much is it going to cost? Will I finish my project? When will I finish my project? All the questions can be answered automatically. So now we go to the plan summary. Everything is automated. And here we can see that each projects, there can be up to 25 projects. So the 3 projects that we have entered, and we can see whether they've been included in the plan, and we can see the specific date. So when is the project supposed to begin or expected to begin? When is the project expected to end? How many hours of work can be scheduled and how many will not be scheduled? And so the result of the project plan is, will it complete on time? Will it complete late? Or will it not complete at all? And so these are the real critical pieces of information you need to understand the current scenario of your project plans. And the project cost will be automatically calculated as well. We have the summary metrics at the top. The third project is highlighted differently because it will not complete. So it will there is another additional 321 hours of work that needs to be done, but they cannot be done within the planning period, and that's why it is labeled as will not complete. You can also see this data in a more visual way, where you can see the project 1, it will complete, it starts here, ends here, and then project 2 will complete late, and so it's yellow, and will not complete will be red. And resource summary, this is the summary of resource management metrics. For each resource, we can see the number of hours they have been available, how many hours of work will be scheduled, the utilization rate that is expected, how many days they've been will be available, how many days they will be scheduled for work, and then cost and everything. So all of this for all the 30 resources will be summarized here. And the task schedule sheet, and all these sheets you can just hit print or export to PDF and share with your team or this project stakeholders. Task schedules is kind of the Gantt chart, but it's very much more customizable way of doing it. So for example, I can choose show me all tasks, and I can see all the 13 tasks that we entered along with all the details. We have the summary at the top, and we also have whether is a task plan result, whether the task will complete on time, late, or will not complete. Keep in mind, this is task level data. What we saw here in the plan summary is the project level aggregated data. And here we can see very detailed task level data. And we also can see the Gantt chart. It shows 31 days at a time, and you can change the start date of the Gantt chart. You can also change it to a daily or weekly, and you can see the different colors used. The purple indicates the company holiday. The green indicates the time where the work is scheduled in a normal working day, and then the company weekends are shown in the gray, and the red indicates the day when the task can be done, but the resource is not available. So the red indicates an opportunity. So if you change the resource availability, or if you change the assignment of the task, then you might be able to get the work done faster, because this is getting slowed down because the resource is not available. So that's how you can improve the project plan, by visually looking at it and also getting the information from the data here. Now you can also choose one project at a time, and I can say show me only the first project 1, and everything updates only for that one project. You can also see the schedule for one resource at a time, where I can choose the schedule type to be resource, and then I would come in and choose, let's say, project manager. Then I can see only the tasks assigned to the project manager resource, summary, detailed data about the task, as well as the Gantt chart. Now let's go to the resource view. This is the view that provides the summary by day on number of hours that each resource has capacity to do work. Original capacity, which means at the beginning, how many hours of work can each person do on any given day. And then at the bottom, we have how many hours of work have been scheduled. So this is the output of the automatic scheduling engine, which says project manager will work 7 hours on November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, will not work on November 5th, and so on. So this will also help you understand if a resource is when the resource is scheduled to work and when it's not. So very, very helpful piece of information in order to build or improve the project plan output, and also increase the chance of accomplishing the goals of the project, which is to complete on time with the minimum cost as possible as well. And so this is what the template does. There is a help sheet which actually has more detailed descriptions on what each calculation means and what each term is defined as. So if you can definitely check that out if you have any questions on some of the terms used. And so coming back, use this template to plan your projects very, very quickly, and get the benefit of the automatic scheduling engine, so that you can save time and build the project schedule automatically, instantly. And if at all any of the inputs change, all you have to do is to just come in here and then say, type in the data, and then immediately you will see the result of the planning. And if you go here, everything will instantly show the results. So that is the power of this template. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you like the template, please do share with your friends. And thank you very much for watching this video.